7 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Tuesday, the 28th of October. Absolutely looking forward to chatting to all of you. We're going to kick off with a discussion around speaking publicly or having an opinion on something publicly. Should it be reserved for people that are qualified in that thing? And I'll share with you because China has passed a new law that basically is going to govern particularly for influencers. But I want to ask all of you, outside of influencers, do you think that anybody should be allowed to speak on health, financial, legal matters, medical matters? I want to hear from you on that. Tech feature, we're talking about AI fatigue. How does it shape attitudes towards technology? We'll be joined by Mike Steyn, the founder and operations director of Aspire Solutions. The second hour of the show, it is our last episode in our series edition on the latest medical discoveries and breakthroughs. We're joined by Associate Professor Zane Lombard, Head of Division for Human Genetics, as we chat about futuristic healthcare in Africa. And then we wrap up the show with our car feature. We'll be talking about South Africa's collision repair sector and how it is being aligned. Yuan Anakom, National Director of the South African Motor Body Repairers Association, SAMBRA, will join us for that conversation. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702, using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, we have many people that now have their own platforms. You no longer need to have a contact in radio or anywhere. People can turn on their phones, drop a video, record a video, or even stream live. I'm streaming live as I'm speaking to you outside of being on air. But now there is a law that has been passed in China, and the law is regulating influencers. Now, yes, we are fully aware of how our freedom of speech is quite liberal compared to other countries like China. But here where they are coming from, where they say in this new law that only degree holding influencers or qualified influencers can discuss professional topics. Topics like law, medicine, education, finance, those that are sensitive topics, as they say. You must have a formal qualification in those fields to speak on them. And the whole purpose of this and the aim is to combat misinformation and hold influencers accountable for the accuracy of their content. And then what needs to happen, like how they're going to be managing it now, is that as an influencer, you must provide proof of expertise. That is a degree, certifications, professional credentials. And what they will do is they're going to have platforms that they have there that are responsible for verifying credentials and ensuring proper citations and disclaimers. Now, I want to know what your thoughts are on this. If you think it is valid, if you think actually looking at how misinformation spreads in South Africa, looking how people can get scammed, looking at how, and let's broaden this to not just be around influencers, looking at how people can say things on platforms and influence how people think, what they do about it, it should require some form of qualification to protect people. Now, the context, again, about this law, the influencer law in China, is that it was inspired by issues like fake COVID-19 cures, anti-vax content, and pseudoscience spread by influencers without expertise. A 2021 study found that 12 individuals were responsible for 65% of anti-vaccine content on social media. Now, outside of your own thoughts of it, I'm sharing with the context of what is happening in China. Now, obviously, this has received some concerns and criticism, where critics are arguing the law may stifle creativity, limit debate, and silence independent voices. And with that being said, I'm like, I hear it completely. And maybe the law is too vague in that, I am all for people sharing their experiences, meaning that a person can say, I'm not a qualified medical expert, but this was my experience, or to share. And there's so many spaces that have been helpful to people. And I guess the problem comes where now a person is advising people what to do, and there's misinformation in that regards. And how then do you balance fighting misinformation and protecting free speech, which is actually a global challenge, especially in the times we're living in now. And maybe you have found yourself victim to misinformation. It doesn't have to be something an influencer said, but something an unqualified person shared publicly that you can share with us. And if you are a professional in fields such as medicine and, being a financial advisor, if you are a professional, you are qualified in things like education, are there things that you feel that only people that are qualified should touch on? And maybe your reservations are, look, I understand the fear of misinformation. I wouldn't say people shouldn't share anything at all, but maybe let us restrict the sharing to what worked for you, as opposed to, giving it out like it is advice. And then when we look at our politicians, for example, are there things that they have said that make you say, Relebogile, based on that, let us just put a halt on people that are unqualified having opinions that they should not have? Especially like in a country like ours, where there are so many vulnerable people. I can come out with bottled water and I can tell you and say it has been scientifically proven that this water is going to do X, Y, and Z for you. That even Pastor Abel, who blessed it, and then it went to the lab and it shows that it will cure your X, Y, and Z. So I want to hear from all of you in that regards. And if you are not for it, what do you suggest we do to curb misinformation? Because we know it spreads like wildfire. I want to hear from all of you. 011 8830702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella,
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Coming up on the next Clement Maniatella show, we're live in Westbury following the recent shooting of 7 young men, which left 2 of them deceased, including a 13-year-old last week. Police believe this has to do with gangs and drugs, issues that have affected the Westbury community for the longest time. So what's the solution? Is this going to be the story of this community forever? What's the community doing? What are the police doing? The Clement Maniatella show is live from the Westbury Recreation Center on Wednesday to discuss this scourge of drugs and gang violence.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Don't just hear the raw, feel it live. DP World Lions are unleashing their legacy of champions in the explosive T20 challenge. The pride of Jozi, the Lions are ready to pounce on Boland in their season open at the DP World Wanderers Stadium. Sunday, the 2nd of November at 2 p.m. Feel the thrill of smashing sixes, stunning catches, and nail-biting finishes. Get your tickets today at Ticket Pro or visit the DP World Lions website. Don't miss the action. Be part of the legacy.
There's a song that goes, "Money can't buy me love." And that's true. But then they told us all you need is love, which anybody with a mortgage will tell you most certainly is not true. Love won't pay your parking tickets or your student loan. It's also needy. It requires effort, availability, constant care. But more importantly, love requires time. And while money can't buy you love, it can certainly free up some of your time. Time to spend on the things you love, with the people you love. And if you're looking, maybe even time to find the one you love. That's why, after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do the things you love. And don't you love that about investing? Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Live extra with Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. Save big on deals like Lager Rooibos tea products. Buy any two and save 30%. Lancewood cheddar or Gouda cheese, 900 grams, any two for 249 Rand. And buy 2 Baby Soft Supreme Quilts, 2-ply toilet rolls, 18 per pack, and get a third one free. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
It's happening right now. Swiper by Absa Rewards and 702 could make you win big. All you have to do is shout "swiped" and lock in up to 25,000 Rand cash. And if you're an active Absa Rewards member, you'll win a 5,000 Rand bonus and go into the draw for a brand new JQ J5 Vortex plus 3 months of premium car insurance from Absa Insurance. Send hashtag Absa Swiper Rewards to 067 384 0022 and 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa could call you next. Your story matters. Absa. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's available at primemediaplus.com. 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
19 minutes after 1 o'clock, we are chatting about who should be allowed to speak publicly or have an opinion publicly on certain professional matters like finances, medical, legal. In the aim to curb misinformation, China's passed a new law, and the punishment of influencers going to speak on things that they're not qualified on, and they've got their methodology of how it is they're going to measure or check your qualifications. But the punishment in speaking on such topics without official certification can include fines of up to 100,000 yuan, which translates to almost 250,000 Rand. It can also lead to your account being suspended or your content being removed. So I want to know your thoughts. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702, especially when it comes to if you are for those who can speak on certain matters publicly being restricted. What are the other subjects that you think should be included in the mix? We go to the lines on 011 883 0702, and of course keep your WhatsApps coming as well, 072 702 1702. Tabo in Naturena, hi.
Hello, Relebogile, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
All right, hey, congratulations on the album, girl. God dang, you got a voice. Man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you keep
Yeah,
enjoying
you're
it.
doing very well. You're
Thank
doing
you.
very well. Yeah, man. Hey, man, I want to talk about my cousin T, man. Hey, my cousin T recently, he was involved in this thing. I don't know, he was very serious about it. Like, he got involved in this government initiative earlier in the year with you guys and all of that. And then, you know, designed the projects and did all of those things. And then they said he won money. And then, hey, it's something else. And he's so valid. He's such a valid guy. He's a smart guy. That guy makes documentaries, Relebogile. That guy is so smart. Like, the whole, like, he's got a lead of a guy. He's a lead of a guy, you know. But then, you know, people just keep playing around with him, which is just like, you know, it's one of those things that's very painful. Because this one thing I believe, that advice, as long as it's valid, you know, as long as it's valid. Because that guy basically, like, he's the reason why most of you guys got money this year. That's why politics got money this year. But they exploited him, you know, which is very painful, you know. But then this is the thing, advice, this thing, a right thing will always be right, no matter how where you get it from, you know, as long as it's like, you know, it's curbed from a heart that is concerned, you know, I feel like, you know, it will always have like a, you know, a right leg to it, you know, that kind of thing. And so unless if it's obviously what you call a field that you're not involved in, things like that. I mean, my cousin is involved in producing. He has been involved in a lot of things, like, you know, he's a qualified guy. He's got a degree in media, he's, you know, that kind of thing. But then he just keeps getting pushed back in the curb, and I don't understand why. You know what I mean? But then it's one of those things. I hope it, it gives it gives it a good opinion. Anyway, thank you very much. Enjoy
Thank
the
you
show,
so,
and I
so,
love
so
you.
much.
I love you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Tabo and Nachurena. Much appreciated. Johan from the Val. Okay, give me 1 second. There we go. Johan, hi, how are you doing?
What's up, superstar, idols, voice, rock star? How are you doing?
Good, thanks, in you, Johan.
Fantastic, no complaints. You know that we should not have everyone have a say because everyone should not have a say. It comes down to apologies. I completely found it. So it comes down to that if we have a say and it becomes law, it's simply because of an opinion, and we cannot expect government to manage our thoughts or to manage who we listen to. We must, however, establish credible voices and stick to those voices. Like I've got 5 voices that I listen to, from the radical left to the radical right, and you must establish who speaks truth and not be dependent on government putting implement or stuff in place.
I actually like the word that you use, which is credible voices. Now, if we were to say on certain subject matters, like, let's say financial issues, do you think that everybody should be able to have a say or to speak on it rather?
Have you noted that Davy Rood's never right, but he's thinking rich, okay? So, it's the truth, eh? So Davy Rood's never right, and he's thinking rich. So I don't know, how do you establish credibility from a legislation point of view? It's not possible.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, when you were speaking to the naked scientist, you brought up a word. I can't remember what it was.
Sleep inertia.
Yes. Okay. So
Yes.
I'll give you an example of how quickly one can convince even the experts to speak a certain message. This guy didn't know the word when you mentioned it to him, but 3 sentences later or 3 minutes later, he was using it. It shows you the power. It shows you the power of communication.
And also, I think it's also, I'm of the view that we need to be responsible, those of us that have platforms. So I understand where China's coming from. Where my concern is that if, let's say, there is some big scandal or some scandal happening in the finance space, how will normal people speak on it? Because we as people also are able to connect the dots, whether it's rand manipulation or whatever else. That's my only reluctance.
Must I make you even more reluctant?
Yes.
So do you know that about this? I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years ago. The 2IC of China. So let's say Mr. Zuma. He was about to have a speech against Xi Jinping. And before he could have his speech, he was removed from their parliament. And this man has never been seen again, ever. So I don't think that governments should be the ones managing this, because governments will only want to ensure that the government's message is on point and the government only speaks the truth that is paid for.
Well, there's also that. There's also that, Johan from the Val. Thank you so much for your call. Willie in Pretoria, hi.
Hi. You know what? We've got a classic case in this country where lies were peddled about South Africa. We know that there's no genocide in South Africa, but it was peddled to the rest of the world. So this thing needs to be regulated, because there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation about other people. That cannot be tolerated, honestly speaking.
And it's a pity that in some ways I feel like the silence has not fueled the fire, right? As in, keep quiet on the misinformation so that we don't make it like a whole bigger thing than what it is. But on the other hand, it's absolute nonsense. Willie in Pretoria, thank you so much for your call there. The question that we asked on Facebook, should qualified people be the only ones to really have an opinion or speak publicly on certain matters, on these professional matters? Eddie says yes. Sharon says lawyers will not even bother. They don't open their mouths for free. I love that. But you'll be surprised. There are a couple of lawyers that do certain things online. I mean, you've got legal clinics and things like that. So they do give out information. Another person says at the height of the HIV/AIDS pandemic, qualified opinions were making rounds versus the brave advocating for treatment. The brave died, and the qualified opinionists got to go home and sleep. Sure, that's from Dili Mohale. Another one says, no, gathering diverse perspectives is crucial as it enables experts to understand public sentiment and perceptions. This feedback loop allows them to refine their approach, identify knowledge gaps, and develop more effective strategies for engagement and education. Tepo says 100% yes, only the qualified should speak publicly. Gege says, on the matter, they know well, yes. Otherwise, also, ChatGPT makes people think they're knowledgeable whilst they are empty. Hey, Gege, you are hitting another nail on another head there. Absolutely not. This isn't China. Here we are free. How can we have a president without education and expect someone's opinion must have a qualification first? How does that make sense? That from a Pops superstar. We've got your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Australia. When it comes to that China story that you're sharing now, I completely agree with them. Someone must have sound knowledge of what.
In this era now, there are some people that just talk things for the sake of talking, and people take it as gospel. But we shouldn't limit people to speak their minds, speak on topics. Obviously, topics that aren't hateful or harmful or discriminatory. But for someone to pass a comment, for example, on a new bill that's being passed, why should that be limited to someone with an LLB, for example? If this was to be passed in South Africa, it would just break away the very fabric of our democracy.
Ooh. We continue with your calls, messages, and WhatsApps when we come back. It is 1:30 time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon. What's happening with the Deputy Minister of Police?
Well, Relebogile, a very good afternoon. Deputy Minister of Police Kasal Matale has told Parliament that Minister Senzo Mchunu directive to disband the political killings task team caught him off guard. Matale is currently testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption. He says he was not sure if Mchunu spoke to the President about his directive to disband the task team. At the same time, a second ballistics expert has taken the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today to begin his testimony. Captain Medlin Mkhatshwa, a senior forensic analyst with the South African Police Service, is now presenting his evidence before that commission. Mkhatshwa is one of the experts who were assigned to the KZN Political Killings Task Team to assist with the analysis of firearm-related evidence. And a social worker who assessed self-confessed killer Amber Lee Hughes says her borderline personality disorder is one of the reasons she committed murder. Hughes is back in the Johannesburg High Court as sentencing proceedings continue today. In August, she was found guilty of the murder and rape of her boyfriend's 4-year-old daughter. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
We still have got delays on the M1 South between Car Street and the Crown Interchange. Roadworks are taking place along this route, and that's the reason for that long backup while traveling in the Woodmead area. Do expect heavier delays due to more roadworks right near the Baklu turn off. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu Interchange due to roadworks. In Tembisa, the R21 heavily backed up towards Olifantsfontein Road, also due to roadworks along this route. So please be on the lookout on the roads this afternoon for men and women working the road, and keep it safe out there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
When you discover that your grade 1 child has been bullied to the extent they're now experiencing hearing difficulties. One mother discovered only after a medical visit that pencil shavings had been forced into her daughter's ears by a classmate.
And I did say to the doctor, is it something that you can medically confirm? And he said yes.
And he did?
Gave us a written report, which the school has got on record.
The school in question is St. Stithians College.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Standard Bank WineX invites you to the biggest and most vibrant wine event in the Southern Hemisphere. 3 nights of wine tasting as the best of the Cape comes to Jozi. Map your own route and let wine enrich the journey. Get your tickets at Web Tickets and enjoy up to 30% off as a Standard Bank client. Live a wealthier life with Standard Bank Private and WineX. Sandton Convention Centre from the 29th to the 31st of October from 5 to 9 p.m. Enjoy responsibly. No under 18s. Visit winex.co.za.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
This week, 702 is in conversation with Auto and General. We'll be talking about Auto and General's events liability insurance. It's the insurance for event managers, organizers, and exhibitors, protecting them if something goes wrong. Whether you're organizing a once-off celebration or a series of events, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. 702 in conversation with Auto and General this Thursday on 702 Drive with John Perlman. Auto and General is a licensed non-life insurance FSP. T's and C's online.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
25 minutes to 2 o'clock, and we continue our conversation around public opinions being shared by those that are qualified. Should it only be them, in especially around subject matters like finances, law, health, medical issues, education, in hopes to curb issues around misinformation? A law has been passed in China where influencers are required to have qualifications. They send them through, punishable by law. You can be fined up to 250,000 Rand or have your account banned. Now, I know that law applies specifically to influencers, but when we look at a country like ours, are there subject matters that you think, hey, in this department, there are some people that really should not be speaking on it? 011 883 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Mpo in Dobsonville. There seems... Hi, Mpo, how's it?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Good, and you? Yes, go ahead.
I think China is taking a very dangerous route because of who do we classify as an influencer? Because of there's a lot of people that have influence, but who and how are we going to classify those people as an influence? And again, if we're going to say qualified people can be bought as well in terms of, for them, what is it that they need to say? Peddling whatever the government wants to peddle, because of that person is qualified. And really, I'm in construction industry as well, where I had engineers who were wrong in some of the things that they were saying. And I had to get a second opinion from a different engineer to get that particular person to really, really give me the correct, answer. So it doesn't mean qualification, you are qualified to say whatever you want to say. We need to have probably, let's say, different opinions to a topic. If we're going to say climate is changing, let's have somebody who is qualified, who says, no, there is nothing like climate change. But at the moment, it's only being peddled, climate change, but we do not hear the other side of it. So that is the danger when it comes to sensitizing people and how are they going to classify people as an influencer.
So maybe then I think the easiest way is they would to if we want to say influencer, if you sharing your opinions publicly earns you an income. I think that's how to sort of, if we're going to sort of put parameters around the influencer conversation. If you speaking online makes you money, then that makes you an influencer and we all know in what space we're referring to.
Oh, okay. No. In terms of
Because
that
then you have an
specification, I hear
incentive.
you.
You have an incentive, right, to say things that maybe are incorrect because it will give you more money. The more people are watching, and there's something called rage baiting where people say things that are absolutely incorrect just to get people angry because it's going to gain traction and get everybody tuning in so that you can make money. So I think from that perspective, maybe it's definitely a consideration. Thank you so much, Paul. Let's go to some of your messages on the WhatsApp line. Hey, happy you are back, from Karen. I think one should know their research. I say yes as well. You should know your facts. I hear you on that one. Hi, Relebogile. What about those pastors who are not qualified to be pastors but advise on the word of God? How we should conduct ourselves? Apologies. I seem to be having some issues on my end with being able to open some of your messages, but let's head over to your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Lebza. I'm all for people having the freedom to speak out whatever is in their minds within the legal framework, of course. But having said that, people should not, pretend as if their opinion is fact. They should make it abundantly clear that whatever you say, if you're not an expert, it's just your opinion. So what is a word for you? Spusis Cosmos City.
Thank you.
Relebogile. I agree with the Chinese. I think that people should absolutely be fined and even imprisoned when they speak out of place. So people who are qualified should say that this is from a scientific, that's, and the other. People who are giving theories should say that this is just a theory. People who are giving from their experiences and so on should say this is from their experiences. I hate seeing people suddenly drinking tons of water with lemon and cucumber to lose weight. That is not scientific. That is opinion matter. And the same with those natural doctors in inverted commas. I think that they should say, I've got a qualification in ABC. This is why I can say 1, 2, 3. If not, I think that she should be fined. Tabiso here in Santon.
Hi, Lebo. I think that being told to be honest by the government is a brand new low. I don't think any government has the moral high ground to be telling anyone about honesty. Thanks, it's Chad.
Yeah. Okay. A few months ago, the Financial Services Conduct Authority in South Africa wanted to tighten oversight on financial influences. And maybe that's what needs to happen, right? Because, hey, guys, good tricky. Relebogile Economics 101, not all economists can agree. Qualified as a matter of opinion at some point. And I absolutely love what the gentleman said on the voice note to say, as long as you say at the beginning of what you're, in my opinion, or in my experience, or in my qualified blah, blah, blah. So rather say, Nkosi from Lenasia says, hi, Relebogile Mabotja. Literally, that's how they wrote it. Influencers are really misusing social media and misleading people. For instance, there's now just too many sex experts on social media, and they're all clearly unqualified and usually speak from hearsay or just popular opinion. They give out advice, home remedies, and health tips, and it's totally wrong. And there's also young kids on social media who end up being exposed to this over-sexualized content, which is not good for kids. China is right to do what it's doing, and even here in South Africa, something needs to be done. Hi, Relebogile, what about, okay, I found the other message. What about those pastors who are not qualified to be pastors, but advise on the word of God, how we should conduct ourselves, etc.? I think they should regulate that too. Well, here's the question. If you are going to regulate pastors, right, because you've got so many different religions and so many different qualifying criteria. I mean, I guess a pastor can wake up and become a pastor, like you get the gig and then or pastor. But there's certain things, like if you want to be a Catholic priest or you want to be the Pope, that you have to do to become that. Hear more of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile and the team. Not only qualified people, because even for people who are not qualified, they have a right to talk whenever they get drunk, you know. Yeah. Type of from Leon Day.
Relebogile, no, I think I agree with to a certain extent with this law in China, because in South Africa we've got political analysts to analyze nonsense. You hear, man, now, man, this political analyst, which school did you go to? There's no logic, there's no sense in whatever they are saying. They're always on these TV newsroom channels, you know. They are not saying anything. Oh, no, man, this guy is talking nonsense, man. What kind of analyst is he? What degree does he even have on what he's talking about? But anyways, it is what it is. Democracy, free for all.
Yeah, ne is what I can say. And I guess in South Africa, we do have freedom of speech. Another person says the Health Professionals Councils regulates what the health professionals say or do, but the public can give harmful products and give unscientific information and nothing happens to them. I mean, we've seen it here, people claiming to be in the medical field and not just giving advice, also selling products, making and selling products under the guise of, you know, being a medical professional, and also under the guise of like, well, this popular person, I've been speaking on medical issues, and then they scam people. It happens. Or people who refer to themselves as financial advisors that are able to tell you to invest in this and this and this. So sometimes it's a scam. I have to say, I really, really enjoy the fact that we have the freedom of speech that we do. We also just need to be responsible. One more message says, providing an opinion depends on the topic. For example, a gogo can give you more tips on parenting than a psychologist ever will, is what they say. Thank you so much for all your messages and your calls.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to
How do you, on the
6.
one hand, get the benefits of talking continent-wide ideas, because some of the regulatory and logistical stuff would require continent-wide solutions? Is that a problem of systems, or is it a problem of mindset?
When you look at all the recommendations that came out from all the 8 task forces, all of them actually would benefit Africa. Issues of a lack of digital infrastructure in the continent, which will then make it difficult for us to actually usher in the African Continental Free Trade Area.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Prime Media, South Africa's most trusted media group, presents Prime Impact, a free 1-hour business seminar running daily at the Prime Media offices in Sandton from the 3rd to the 7th of November. Learn how radio and digital can reach your target market and grow your business with more customers. Every registered business receives a tailored demo ad and a simple campaign plan, plus access to event-only package opportunities. Seats are limited. Secure your spot now. Register at primeimpact.co.za. That's primeimpact.co.za.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actors-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
When you've looked cancer in the eye, you see the world differently. This Wednesday on the Afternoon Drive show with John Perlman, we'll hear how breast cancer survivor and head of outreach at Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibbas, is turning her journey into purpose, helping to raise awareness about the importance of sight and access to reading glasses for those who need them most. It's a powerful story shared in partnership with the Dis-Chem Foundation, because caring for the community starts with seeing its needs clearly. Remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem Better Rewards card supports this and other amazing initiatives across the country. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts on 702.
702.
Tech feature.
Tech feature time, and for today's tech feature at 12 minutes to 2 o'clock, we are chatting about AI fatigue, what it is and how exactly it shapes attitudes towards technology. Get in touch with us with all your questions and your comments. 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We welcome for this conversation the founder and operations director of Aspire Solutions, Mike Steyn. Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Lebo. Hi, team. Thank you so much for having me.
What is AI fatigue? And I feel like I'm already feeling it, but I don't know.
I think we're all feeling it, to be honest.
Is AI fatigue seeing things, and I'm tired of looking at things and asking myself if it's AI.
Yeah, yes, and that's part of it. And how many conversations are you having about it at the braai, at dinner, with your barber, wherever you go? We are talking about it left, right, and center, aren't we?
So here's the funny thing, Mike, that I have to tell you. So I can't remember what I was talking about on a TikTok video, and somebody put a very strong worded opinion in the comments. Now the person responded to them, and I could see it was a ChatGPT response. So then it became a conversation of two people now using ChatGPT to respond to one another. So I'm like, you guys have become AI bots talking to each other. You're no longer people.
Yes, exactly. And that's going to be one of our big challenges going forward is understanding what humanity and what's human and what's not human, and differentiating between the two. I mean, I'm sure you're the same. I'm getting my older relatives sending things through, being absolutely amazed at certain things, and you're going back and saying, sorry, but that's not real. You know, that's an AI-generated image.
I'm currently training them.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a bit scary. You know, it can be scary, especially if you're, you know, slightly older, and you know, I'm on the wrong side of 50. So you know, it's these things can be scary and a bit overwhelming.
Definitely. Okay, so what are some of the other things that qualify as AI fatigue?
Yeah, so I think the big one is firstly the amount of stuff that's being thrown at you, and then you know, it starts off with a technology that's come out, and this is not the first time this has happened. You know, if I look at the advent of the internet and email and everything like that, these technologies come out, we are absolutely amazed by them. They are mind-blowingly different. We can see that they're going to change the world, and initially there's a bit of excitement, and then the trickle goes to a torrent, and all of a sudden this other things creep in. You know, just as an example, I get fed all the time, and I think it's because I'm post 50. You're not using AI right. Are you still just only using ChatGPT? You know, you must come for all this training. You must come for this and all sorts of stuff. And I think that brings the fear in. It brings the you know, the overwhelmness in, and then we kind of go to the wrong side of this conversation, because then we almost being totally overwhelmed by something that we should be using and controlling as something that we can get benefit out of.
So,
and I think that's the big challenge.
Yes, I have somebody on my team that I work with, and every single time I bring up, like, let's figure out how to do X, Y, and Z, they tell me about a new app, and I'm like, listen to me carefully. I told you I only have bandwidth to learn. Like, I've just learned ChatGPT, and I chose that's going to be my main thing. And now in the spaces we have switched to Teams, they have oh my gosh, it's too much.
It is too much. It is too much. And you know, in a way, I think if I can give people advice, I think that it's almost a surfer's approach to it, is just relax and chill out about it. You know, and I don't mean to sound flippant on that. What I'm trying to say is that, you know, this technology will shape the world, there's no doubt. And there's going to be a lot of good coming out of it, and there's going to be a little bit of bad coming out of it. And you're not doing it right, you're not doing it wrong. I think also the thing to be careful about is who you're looking for advice on how to use this. You must do it for yourself firstly, and then seek advice from people that you trust and know, and ask them, how is this thing working for you? How is it making your business better? How is it making your life better? Rather than listening to all the noise that's out there. Because ultimately, if you are, as you say, you're going to be jumping from the one thing to the next thing and the next thing. And it is actually, in a way, it's quite ingenious of humankind that as soon as something comes out, there's all of a sudden a lot of people that are now able to create even new services out of it. But it does lead to the noise. So trusted advice, I think, is probably the biggest thing, and by that I mean friends and colleagues and somebody that I'm not talking about someone when you're having your haircut or around the bride, or possibly around the bride, but sit with them and say, how are you using this thing to make your life better?
I just came up with a new word. Do you want to hear it, Mike?
I do.
It's called AI whelmed.
AI overwhelmed.
Yeah. Completely overwhelmed. So,
yes.
All right, what are some of the, we've touched on the fact that, and I know it's very easy for us to be like, oh my gosh, the older people in our families that we know, they freak out sending videos like, I can't believe this happened, or why was Ramaphosa dancing at no, it's not him, right? But I think they are a group of people who are not even in that world or interested in it at all. Can we do just in your view, Mike, what is the very basic bit of AI that you think is useful? Because, I mean, something as simple as our phones have these AI capabilities that we aren't necessarily using. I mean, I still haven't figured out my phone's fancy tricks of just taking a picture, that there's certain things it can automatically do.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen lots of the benefits, even within our organization, which is a tech organization. And I'm talking about even small things, better written emails, having an editor that's available to you, having a technical advisor that's available to you. And that's how I think you should see AI. It's having an advisor that can advise you on a lot of things. It shouldn't be doing stuff for you. As soon as you're in that trap, you're really in trouble. So using it as a sounding board, using it as somebody to look at the things that you've created, but keep your original thought. That's the key thing, because then you're controlling the technology, not the technology controlling you. And I think that's it. Take ownership of it. And if ChatGPT is the only thing you do, fine, great, absolutely, I love it. I do a lot on it. It's improved a lot of things for me. It's sped up a lot of things for me, but I don't let it do things for me, and it gets things wrong. That's the other thing. And I think finding the balance, that's the thing, So as another anecdote, I was talking to my daughter, and she said at school she gets the sense that half the kids, just use it to kind of plagiarize and, not have to do the work, and the other half of the kids want nothing to do with it at all. And neither of those two approaches is right. The balance is in the middle. Take ownership of the technology, let it work for you. Don't get overwhelmed by all the noise. It will find its place. It's going to change the world. Like it or not, you need to come on along the journey and then just take it from there and then find the balance and make it work for you. And if it's only one thing, it's only one thing.
Yes. And I mean, like what you were saying, Mike, you might not use the AI platform, whatever it is, Chat Copilot, what's the Genesis? You might not use it for its full capabilities, but even something, I mean, I know of people who say they use Chat to help them, like, please take the emotion out of this WhatsApp I need to send to my girlfriend.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
There are ways that you can start just using it, like, please just triple check that this does not come off as angry or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. And isn't communication one of the things that causes so much, can cause so much harm if the tone is wrong, if the implied implication is wrong. And exactly, even if you're using it just for that, that's a win. But use it for everything. Ask it for recipes. Ask it for assistance to whatever. But see it as an advisor that's there for you to use, not the other way around. And then you're on the right track.
Thank you so much, Mike, for chatting to us. And yes, we will continue having to remind people that, listen, this is AI. It's not real. And we all need to get along for this ride because it is here.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Parliament's Higher Education Committee Chairperson Relebogile Mabotja says while he does not condone students using their financial aid money to gamble, the inconsistent payments from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme is backing students into a corner. A recent Daily Maverick investigation revealed that students are among the growing online gambling population in the country, many using their student allowances in efforts to just make ends meet. At a briefing at Parliament yesterday, Mabotja said that while he sympathized with the plight of many students, online gambling is not the answer.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra celebrates its 25th anniversary with its Spring Symphony season opening with a special gala concert jointly performed by the Johannesburg and KZN Philharmonic Orchestras. Concerts run from the 30th of October until the 20th of November at 7:30 p.m. each Thursday evening at the Linda Auditorium. Don't miss these memorable live performances featuring world-renowned conductors and soloists. Book your tickets through Quicket.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
Talking of expenses, your trading expenses were up by 4.8% above inflation. I mean, what drove them up in that way?
Some of these are beyond our control. You know, we've got an unfortunate situation that the various municipalities across the length and breadth of South Africa are just gouging retailers and shopping centres. And we've got some areas where we're paying 3 times the amount in rates and taxes that we're actually paying on this base rental.
Sean Summers is the CEO of Pick n Pay.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. The insights to guide you through Africa's financial landscapes are waiting for you. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
In the next hour of the show, the final episode of our series edition on the latest medical discoveries and breakthroughs, and the car feature chatting aligning South Africa's collision repair sector. It's 2:00.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Deputy Minister of Police Kassel Matale has told Parliament that Minister Senzo Mchunu directive to disband the political killings task team caught him off guard. Matale is currently testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption. He says he was not sure if Mchunu spoke to the President about his directive to disband the task team. Today marks day 13 of the parliamentary hearings. Babalondenze reports.
Deputy Police Minister Kassel Matale told evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse, that he found out on social media that Senzo Mchunu had issued a directive to disband the political killings task team. He says Mchunu only called him in early January to inform him and assured him that he wrote the letter.
When did you first learn about the directive?
On the social media. That's where I picked it up.
He said he wasn't expecting the decision and found Mchunu's letter to be strongly worded.
It was odd for me to say something like that. And when he confirmed it himself, that he wrote it, and we must not be surprised. I didn't understand what could have motivated him to pen such a letter in the manner in which he did.
Matale told the committee that the effectiveness of the task team was never in question and it had done excellent work. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
At the same time, a second ballistics expert has taken the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today to begin his testimony. Captain Medlin Mkhatshwa, a senior forensic analyst with the South African Police Service, is now presenting his evidence before the Commission. Mkhatshwa is one of the experts who were assigned to the KZN Political Killings Task Team to assist with the analysis of firearm-related evidence. Mkhatshwa began his testimony by explaining what his duties in the political task team were.
And we were also doing a linking of cases. Again, let me put it like this, we were also examining homemade devices, and we were also doing etching for the firearms that had the serial numbers removed.
Let's stay with policing matters. Members of the Police and Prison Civil Rights Union are staging a sit-in at the Baviaanspoort Correctional Centre in Pretoria following claims of its members being victimized. The sit-in comes after the union's chairperson, Mongezi Makhanya, was served with a suspension letter on Sunday. This was for allegedly inciting pop crew members to not adhere to new shift patterns, a claim which he has denied. The union says his suspension is unlawful and says it has opened the pathway for the abuse of other members. Pop Crew spokesperson Richard Mamabolo says the members who are staging the sit-in are also being threatened with arrest.
Pop Crew condemns this abuse of authority in the strongest terms, and we demand the immediate release of all arrested members, and then to the intimidation and retaliation against workers, the reinstatement of our democratically elected chairperson, the withdrawal of all the shift changes pending proper dispute resolution processes.
In the courts now, a social worker who assessed self-confessed killer Abilene Hughes says her borderline personality disorder is one of the reasons she killed. Hughes was back in the Johannesburg High Court today while sentencing proceedings continued. In August, she was found guilty of the murder and rape of her boyfriend's 4-year-old daughter. Nada Jane Chalita was found floating in the bathtub of the home that she shared with her father and Hughes in 2013. Social worker Johanna Volmarans told the court today that Hughes' mental illness led her to that action the day that Nada Jane was murdered.
Borderline personality that she is suffering. She cannot deal with frustration. She cannot deal with anger. She does not have the skills, the personality skills to direct her anger.
The Johannesburg High Court has now postponed the sentencing proceedings to allow for the defense to present more evidence in mitigation of sentence. And in Japan, the man accused of killing former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has pleaded guilty. Abe was shot several times and died in hospital in 2022 during a political campaign event in the western city of Nara. Local media says 45-year-old Tetsuya Yamagami told the court that everything he is charged with is true. Yamagami is reported to have told investigators he targeted Abe because he blamed him for allegedly promoting the church, which Yamagami says bankrupted his mother and wider family. Gold is trading at $3,903.62 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 22.98 to the pound, 20.11 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.62 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 North between Marlborough Drive and Woodmead Drive. This is due to roadworks. There's also roadworks on the N3 North in the Kelvin area, causing delays between Marlborough Drive and the Buccleuch interchange.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Deputy Minister of Police Kassel Matale has told Parliament that Minister Senzo Mchunu directive to disband the political killings task team caught him off guard.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And we're going to be jumping into what we do on a Tuesday. We've got our series edition. It's the last episode of our series on the latest medical discoveries and breakthroughs. Send through your series recommendations to us 7:02 afternoons at 702.co.za. That's 7:02 afternoons at 702.co.za. If there's any subject matter you want us to break apart over a month. And then episode 4, we talk about the future of human genetics and precision medicine. And then we wrap up with our car feature talking aligning South Africa's collision repair sector together with the National Director of the South African Motor Body Repairers Association. So get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702. Series Edition.
Series edition time on the latest medical discoveries and breakthroughs. And I encourage all of you to catch up on episodes 1 to 3, some really, really fascinating conversations on primemediaplus.com, or download the app, and a series that you would like to recommend, 702 afternoons at 702.co.za. Now we talk about healthcare in Africa, futuristic healthcare in Africa. We're joined by the head of division for human genetics, Associate Professor Zane Lombard, and we take your calls and your questions and comments on this discussion. Professor, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting to you.
I wish all the listeners could see your background because it looks so cool.
This is a beautiful place.
Yes, it is. The background on the video call is the University of the Witwatersrand, Johannesburg. It's sunny, there's flowers, and of course one of the buildings there. Let's chat about what healthcare has sort of like looked like on the continent in terms of the technology around it over the past few years, and because it almost feels like things sped up really quickly over the past couple of years in relation to maybe what we saw 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Absolutely. I think there's been so much as far as discovery is concerned, and specifically in human genetics and genomics, with precision medicine coming to the fore. There's been so many technological advances, and the cost of these technologies are coming down significantly, which I think is making them more accessible and then driving these discoveries that we're seeing.
Okay, so when now we look at human genetics and precision medicine, what are we referring to? Let's start with human genetics so that we all have a very clear understanding. Because I think sometimes when we speak, you're just like, oh, it's my mom's genes, but nobody actually knows what that means.
So with the term human genetics, so what we're researching and studying it is really about your genetic makeup. So what you've inherited from your mom and your dad. So we focus specifically on your DNA. That's the inherited material. And with precision medicine, what we're seeing is that medicine is really shifting from kind of this one-size-fits-all approach to treating diseases to becoming very personalized and very focused on the individual. And very often, one of the things that we focus on is our genetics, because that is what makes us as an individual unique. So with precision medicine, we use that information that we know about our genes and what effect they have on diseases and risk, etc., and incorporate that into, firstly, how we treat patients, but also looking forward to how we can actually be less reactive and a bit more proactive in actually preventing disease from happening, which is, I think, some of the really exciting discoveries that are coming to the fore now.
I am so excited about what AI can really do in the space of human genetics, but also just early, precursors of like, okay, you have a genetic marker for X. Now you can know a lot more information about oneself, especially when you think about, when a person goes to the doctor and they're like, do you have a history of this? There are children who don't know their fathers. There are children who might be adopted that might not have access to that. And now they can, go and get some information about you. What are some of the surprising pieces of information that one can go get tested for today, be it bloods, be it stool, be it whatever else, that then you can find out these things about yourself from a medical and health perspective?
So genetic testing is expanding by the day, and there are new ways of testing and new things that you can learn from your genetics every day. So a few examples, for instance, that we could look at is testing how well your body would metabolize a certain drug, for instance. So for instance, a cancer treatment, and looking at the differences between individuals who might have the same type of cancer, but their cancer has different mutations and the tumors have different mutations, and that gives you information about whether you should use treatment A or treatment B, which would be better for this individual person. So that speaks to a bigger field called pharmacogenomics, where we look at our genes and use that information that tells us how well we metabolize certain drugs, certain medicines, whether we'll have an adverse effect to that. So whether that drug might give us a headache or cause some dangerous side effects, and using that information in conjunction then to make an informed decision about how we approach medicine and treatment of diseases. So there's a bunch of other examples, but those are just two of the ways that you can kind of use your genetic information and have that inform disease outcomes.
Are there any diseases or illnesses that we previously believed were not hereditary that now we know are, and vice versa, that we previously believed were hereditary but now realize actually there is no connection?
So yes, I think there's a few examples. I think what we're learning as we're doing more research is that many of the common diseases that we see that we think might have a completely environmental effect, things like diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, those are all things that are called complex or multifactorial diseases. And what we see with those is, yes, your environment is really important. So what you eat, if you smoke or not, if you drink alcohol or not, but there's also a genetic predisposition in many of these disorders. And the more we study our genes, the more we find out about what those risk factors are and how we can use that information, because our DNA stays the same throughout our lifetime. So if we can do a DNA test upfront and identify which individuals have a higher risk of developing some of these disorders, we could potentially use that information to prevent that disease happening at all. So that's just, one of the examples of how we would use this kind of genetic information to prevent diseases, for instance.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue and we'll delve more into precision medicine. Get your questions in 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Summer is about rewarding yourself with oceanic views, sizzling braais, and so much more. Earn your share of 120 million rand in real cashback, depending on your rewards tier, when you pay with your Absa Visa card. Plus, enter the Absa Swiper competition and stand a chance to win one of 10 cars. This summer could be the best you've had in years. Your story matters. Absa, T's and C's apply. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider.
702. Series Edition.
18 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue with our series edition. It is our last episode as we chat to Associate Professor Zane Lombard, Head of Division for Human Genetics at WITS. And this is really in our 4th episode around the future of human genetics and precision medicine. And I think it's so exciting. And this is in our series on the latest medical discoveries and breakthroughs. And it's our last episode, which makes me so sad because I truly have been enjoying finding out about all these wonderful breakthroughs that we are not necessarily exposed to on the daily as lay people. Your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Professor, let's jump to precision medicine. And I'm wondering, as you and I are speaking and you're sharing information about, this is where we are at with human genetics, like how accessible is all of that right now? So if we speak precision medicine, is it something that like 10 people in a lab know about, or is it something that you're like, no, this is currently in every hospital, including public hospitals in South Africa?
So that's a really good question. And I think globally, precision medicine is becoming much more accessible. In Africa, I think there is a limitation in resources accessibility at the moment. It definitely is available in certain countries. South Africa, both in the private and in the public healthcare sector, there are specific pockets of precision medicine and genetic testing that is taking place. Very much focused on specific areas such as cancer, maybe some rare diseases and prenatal and postnatal genetic testing. But there's lots of discoveries and advances that are taking place. And I think there's a big focus at the moment on Africa specifically to try and advance what we call precision medicine and genomic medicine and making sure that it is becoming accessible and that we are laying the groundwork for it to become a routine part of medicine in the future.
What are some of the other areas that really fall into precision medicine? I mean, we've touched on cancer and the specific gene mutations, but is there a way that you can use precision medicine in a preventative way where you say, okay, Relebogile, we're testing you and we see that you have an 80% chance of so-and-so, and here are your options of what you can do so that you never have to worry about it again. So more preventative than treatment.
Definitely. So I think there's some really exciting work happening in kind of prevention and establishing individuals' risk. We are still some way off because these diseases are quite complex and there's often many different genetic mutations and variants that are involved that increases your risk. It's not a single variant and now you will have the disease or you won't develop it. So it is a little bit complex, but I think one of the exciting areas where we're seeing very exciting developments is in the area of gene therapy and gene editing, and that being used not only to treat diseases, but also to prevent diseases. For instance, there's a very recent study that has come out for a disease called Huntington disease, which is a very severe neurological disorder. There's currently no cures, very poor treatment for it. And we're seeing that there's new developments in gene therapy that could potentially be used in individuals pre-symptomatic. So this is a adult onset disorder. So you develop it usually in your late 30s, early 40s. And again, if we could test and understand that a person has the genetic mutation that is causative for this particular disease and link that then with the gene therapy, that could potentially delay some of the symptoms, or in some cases even prevent some of those symptoms coming forward. I think that's a very exciting area where we're kind of keeping an eye on and making sure that we're keeping abreast of those developments.
What do we know about precision medicine and just around Alzheimer's and your dementias, which we know are very traumatic for families and quite difficult to manage? I mean, in this economy, one needs full-time care and so many other things. And I know that that is a big concern for many people.
Yes, and I think that's, again, it's a good example of where we could use precision medicine to try and either delay onset of symptoms or identify individuals who would particularly respond well to specific treatments, because we know in some cases what the genetic variants are that are associated with risk for Alzheimer's disease. And there's different types of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. There's early onset, which starts showing up earlier in life, and those are usually much more genetic prone. So again, doing some genetic testing upfront in families and finding out if there is this predisposition is useful information that can then be used to inform treatment and preventative measures that can be put in place to delay the onset of certain diseases like Alzheimer's.
All right, we've got some questions coming through on the WhatsApp line. 0727021721 reads, "Afternoon, Relebogile and your guest. I got genetically tested after breast cancer diagnosis at 40 years. The next generation will be proactive and alert based on my BRCA1. So it's a comment. What is a BRCA1?
So BRCA1 is a specific gene, and certain variations in that gene, mutations, we know that they are very strongly linked to breast cancer. So having a BRCA1 genetic test done can inform whether you're at high risk of developing breast cancer. And that information can be used to inform then whether there's preventative measures like a mastectomy that could be taken, or specific treatments that can be started early on, even before breast cancer is developed. So this is a good example of how genetic testing can be used preventatively. And I guess also because we know our genes are inherited, that's really important information for a family to convey to other family members in the family, to say that if you did test positive for one of these disease-linked mutations, to share that information with your family members, because it might be important for their health as well.
Please explain this gene editing therapies that you touched on. How does it work?
So it's quite complicated, but I think in essence, there's a new technology available that allows you to it almost works like a molecular scissors. It allows you to cut out a specific variant from the genome that is maybe causing a protein that doesn't function very well, or that leads to disease, to be removed and to be replaced by a functioning copy. So as you can imagine, that is a very detailed and complex experiment to do, but scientists have developed methods in which we could do that very precisely and very effectively, and then also transfer that into the human body so that the effect can then take place across your body system.
Please help me understand, especially around advanced gene and RNA editing. What is RNA? Because it's kind of reminding me of no DNA, just RSA. I'm pretty sure you guys in the genes world have your internal jokes on that.
So I'm sure you've heard RNA also mentioned in the sense of the COVID vaccine, which was an mRNA vaccine. So the RNA is really a message. It's a copy of your DNA that is used as a message in the body to make a protein. So our DNA is kind of like our recipe book, and that's the instructions for creating all the parts of our body, so brain cells, lung cells, etc. But that message lives within the core of all of our cells, and that message has to be relayed out to the rest of the body. So the RNA is just an in-between messenger, taking what we know from our DNA instructions and relaying that into the body to practically make a protein.
All right, we've got a caller, Anne from Santon. Hi, Anne, go ahead.
Hi there. Could I please ask the doctor what she knows about a condition called Friedreich's ataxia?
Why do you ask that, Anne?
Well, both my nieces had it,
Mm.
and they died when they were 31 and 32 respectively.
Wow, thank you so much for that question.
Yes,
thank you, Anne.
Yes.
So Friedreich ataxia it's a rare disorder. So firstly, it's very rare and it's inherited. So there is a genetic variant that's linked to, if you inherit this, it causes the disease. And it's linked to neurodegeneration. So that would explain what you've just described, kind of the outcome of what happened with your family members. I think the thing with precision medicine, and especially with rare diseases, is that with new technology, we are getting it's very good now that we can actually run these tests much more cost effectively, much earlier in life, to detect these mutations and then to share that information with family members as a matter of a way to deal with a specific disorder like Friedreich ataxia, where you might use that information to to treat the ataxia better and to treat the symptoms, but also in a family planning kind of a way. So again, because these are inherited mutations, it's very important for families to know more about this from a genetic point of view. And in this case, speaking with a genetic counselor who can really explain this in a very informative way is a good way to receive some of this very complex genetic information.
Did you say genetics counselor?
Yes, so a genetic counselor is somebody who is trained to counsel somebody specifically and explain the results of a genetic test to them in a way that they can understand it and that they can ask questions and follow-up questions and just help them to really work through if they are getting a new genetic diagnosis or very complex information that maybe isn't so clearly understandable on first when you see your medical report, to really just assist you and help you through that information.
Wow, there's so much to learn about, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again, Professor, just in regards to these amazing breakthroughs. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's just after 2:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. The family of two women who were shot and killed in Mamelodi at the weekend says it is deeply hurt by the slander they have experienced following the ordeal. 21-year-old Baleseng and 22-year-old Siyamo Moramaga was shot in the early hours of Sunday morning after a night out. A 38-year-old suspect has since been arrested in connection with the murder of the cousins. The South African Weather Service has denied claims that a storm is brewing at the organization following renewed allegations of fraud and corruption. Management has been accused of financial mismanagement, abuse of power and tender irregularities. These include allegations that the board has shielded some in the executive from accountability. And the DA says poor people have a much better chance of climbing out of poverty in a municipality governed by the organization than anywhere else in the country. The party held a media briefing where it unveiled a new billboard along the N1 highway in Johannesburg today. The billboard reads, Triple BEE made ANC elites rich and left South Africa poor. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the N3 North, we've got heavy traffic volumes. This is due to those roadworks that are taking place right near the Baklu interchange, and they are causing delays coming out of Marlborough Drive. More roadworks are taking place on the M1 North between Marlborough Drive and Woodmead Drive. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. Traveling on the M2 West, we've got some delays between the Crown Interchange and Mainbrief Road. Otherwise, on the N12 West in the Protea Glen area, traffic lights are out of order at the R558, and that's the reason for those queues there. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. Traveling on the N1 North, we've got an accident in Diepkloof. It's right near the Diepkloof interchange. It's causing delays already. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Vereeniging. Vereeniging is situated on the banks of the Vaal River and is one of our most important industrial manufacturing centers in the country. Chief products include iron, steel, bricks, tiles, and lime. Several coal mines in the area supply coal to nearby Eskom power stations. An historic treaty was signed in Vereeniging in 1902, ending the South African War between the Boer republics and the then British Empire. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Vereeniging.
Celebrate the diverse musical expressions that connect us across borders, languages, and cultures, honoring ancestral sounds that have echoed across the continent for generations at Nairock Sculpture Park in the Cradle of Humankind on Sunday, the 2nd of November. Good Neighbours is a dynamic gathering of African artists, both emerging and established, exploring indigenous instruments, layered harmonies, rhythms, and innovative interpretations of traditional sounds, featuring Amadodana Asawesele, Zawadi Yamungu, we had her in 702 Unplugged, and Silent Ngo, among others, as well as MC Loyiso Gola. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Remember when everyone thought NFTs were the future of modern art? When non-fungible was a buzzword used in boardrooms to justify buying pixels, and the metaverse was just months away, and that we'll all be living in our virtual mansions, admiring our digital paintings, only to realize they were just expensive JPEGs. When you can't trust a trend, trust a 30-year track record of outperforming benchmarks.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
When you've looked cancer in the eye, you see the world differently. This Wednesday on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman, we'll hear how breast cancer survivor and head of outreach at Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibis, is turning her journey into purpose, helping to raise awareness about the importance of sight and access to reading glasses for those who need them most. It's a powerful story shared in partnership with the Dis-Chem Foundation, because caring for the community starts with seeing its needs clearly. Remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem Better Rewards card supports this and other amazing initiatives across the country. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts on 702.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. Happy Tuesday, John. Earlier on in the show, we were talking about should only qualified people have public opinions on certain matters like law and finances and medicine. What are your thoughts? This is based on the law that China passed to say influencers don't speak on these matters. If you're not qualified, you'll get fined up to 250,000 rand.
Yeah, I was listening to that, and it's very, very interesting. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm quite torn, to be honest, because I think there is something of a downside for a society when certain areas get staked out as for experts only, because those experts can become quite set in their ways, and there are ideas bubbling up and coming through. That said, though, I get what China's trying to do, whether I agree with the way they're going about it or not, because it does seem to me that people who speak on matters, and I thought you drew a very, very useful distinction, by the way, when you spoke about people talking about their experiences of health, illness, and treatment and its outcomes, but that being very different to presenting yourself as a medical person who can offer expertise that would be of application to other people. I don't know the answer to that. And I think it's got to do with the way you present it. So it's one thing to say, for example, listen, this is my health journey. If you did it in a white coat with a stethoscope, I'm crudifying it slightly. I think you're straying into some territory. And I do think the public should have some protection from financial, legal, and medical advice that may be potentially dangerous to their health. But on the other hand, and I'm arguing with myself, if you think of the 2008 crash, how many ratings agencies declared the bonds being peddled by major Wall Street banks as AAA, in other words, the most credible bond you can get? Well, they're all still in business, both the banks and Moody's and S&P and all the others. So, long answer to your short question, I have absolutely no idea.
I love that you never have an idea, John.
But I'm working at it.
Look, I think the person who sent the voice note that said, if you always started up with a disclaimer, then that's as a person who's had cancer or as somebody, I mean, people often ask me, what do you use on your skin? And I'm always reluctant because I'm like, guys, genes play a part. Also, I went to a dermatologist. They prescribe because I suffer from eczema. So I'll always say, in my experience, but I'm even reluctant to name the product. So I think we do need to be careful. And the listener who said that the medical, not board, but the medical group and the other one, they do look out to try and be like, guys, what kind of information are you putting out there? So that's definitely a conversation that's going to continue, especially in this era where people monetize speaking and sharing and telling people things and advising them what to do. What's coming up on your show today?
Well, just to say what I'm about to say, I know nothing about it. I have no expertise. But anyway, we're bringing in people who do know what they're talking about. So on a serious note, Madlanga Commission of Inquiry underway. Ballistics is the subject matter down in Parliament. The ad hoc committee, prompted by the same thing that you all know about, the allegations made by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Both of those are on. We will cover both of those. We are going to look ahead to the women's Proteas cricket team. They play in the World Cup semi-final against England. That's tomorrow. Fast bowler Tumiseko Kune joins us to talk about the mood in the camp and how they feel about facing a team who smashed them in the first game of the tournament. How do you come back from that? Starting a new series, we're looking at doing business in China. Really fascinating. I'm looking forward to doing that at 10 minutes to 4. And then a subject that I never tire of talking about or doing research on, WineX, the big expo of Western Cape wine taking place in Joburg. We'll talk to wine expert Michael Fridge on at 5:20.
I didn't figure you for a big whiner, John Pillman.
A whiner?
Yes, now I know.
Whiner?
Yes.
I don't think that's what you call people who like wine. I've been known to whine about things and drink wine.
You are a blend man. Are you
What
a
do you
blend
mean?
man, as in
Blend
your
of what?
red wine?
Oh, I see.
You're a red
the
wine blend
varietal.
man.
No, not specifically. I like, there's some reds I don't like, and I like reds much more than whites.
Wow. 7:02 drive with the whiner, John Pillman, from 3 to 6 p.m. hosting 7:02 drive.
7:02.
The car feature.
Car feature time at 19 minutes to 3 o'clock. We take your calls on 011 8830702 and the WhatsApp line 072702 and 702. We're talking about aligning South Africa's collision repair sector. And this always becomes quite a big conversation in our consumer rights feature with Wendy Nola. And in our car feature, we're joined by Juan Hanekom, National Director of SAMBRA, which is the South African Motor Body Repairers Association. And we look forward to chatting to all of you. 011 8830702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Relebogile.
Can you just pull your mic closer to... There we go.
Okay.
Almost like you're about to kiss it.
I'll
And
try
then
my
it's
best.
close enough. If it looks like it's going in for a kiss, you're close enough.
Great to know, great to know. So we learn.
I'm letting you know in advance that we're probably going to get a couple of calls about dodgy mechanics and all of those things, which is a big thing and very, very important. I want to know from you what falls within the body. When you say Body Repairers Association, does that only apply to panel beaters?
Primarily.
Okay.
So let me maybe paint a larger picture. For
Yes,
you,
please.
Right? So if you take a look at the automotive industry, right, and you cut it straight down the middle, you basically have the guys who build the cars, which are the OEMs, and then the guys who take care of the cars. Now, from the RMI perspective, we focus on the latter, right? We're looking after things like your mechanics, your panel beaters, your petrol stations, and anything in between.
What is RMI? So we
The
all know.
retail motor industry.
Okay, just so we know the lingo.
And this is the umbrella or host organization to its constituent associations, and SAMBRA makes up a small part of that. When we take a look at SAMBRA as a whole, though, we are the largest representative body of motor body repairers, or panel beaters, if you want to call it that. And that's us.
Okay, so you cover your panel beaters. At what point does the one bleed into the other department? Because, and I'm not sure how it works, because if for me as a consumer, if I'm taking my car to get fixed, I drive it to one place and then I come back and I must get it. It's not like they're going to fix the inside and then I'm going to drive somewhere unless people do that.
Well,
help me understand.
So in the case of a collision, where there are mechanical repairs, most SAMBRA shops do have a qualified mechanic that will tend to that. Where it becomes more specialized, and if you're taking a look at some specialized vehicle diagnostics, things that are dealer specific, take your Mercedes-Benz and similar products, those will go to a dealership or accredited MIWA shop or similar.
Okay, so what does this the Repairers Association? What is the main work that you do? Do you just go and sort of give certificates? You check out places, or are you the ones that respond should there be a problem with the ones that are operating?
So our primary focus is to represent the interests of the motor body repairers within South Africa. So our job first starts off with making setting the standard that the member has to follow, right, or apply to their business. So we go and we do regular gradings and accreditations within our workspace, within our member workshops, and from there they get accredited into the SAMBRA family. And then when they are in that family, we advocate for their needs and in this case, the sustainability of their businesses at the moment. We raise the issues that they might have with the powers that be that an insurer, OEM, or government in certain instances.
How does a person get qualified to become a panel beater? Like, because now there's YouTube videos for everything. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you've seen the video where there's a dent and the person just takes boiling water and then it pops back out. Yes. And then we're like, why are we paying 3 million rand to fix my 70,000 rand car?
but that's it though, right? So there are some advances in the way repairs happen, but you have to remember that there's different categories of damage, right? You were talking about genetics a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Love that topic.
Yes.
But there was a cut on your finger is one thing, but engineering some revolutionary new medicine that's specifically tailored to your unique body is a completely different element. So when you start looking at things like paintless dent removal, which is actually what you're referring to there, it's a subset of the panel beating trade, right? Now, when you look at a motor body repairer, you typically have your paintless dent removers, you've got your non-structural shops, they fix your minor fender benders, right? And then you've got your major structural shops. These are the guys that are cutting and welding on the car, but anything from a non-structural shop up to a major structural shop has an element where the paint has been compromised and needs to be repaired. There is shrinkage in the metal. There is a whole bunch of range of things that have happened in that space. And
Yes.
a person needs to do the appropriate corrections there. And for that, you need specialized machinery. So correcting with something like boiling water is an option in some rare cases.
If your car's plastic.
Well, if it's plastic or even metal, right?
Yes, yes.
So there is space for that. But there's a specific segment where it's appropriate. Where you see paintless dent removal really shine is when it comes to hail repair, where you've got a lot of small dents on the car, and those are appropriately to just rub them out. But you haven't compromised the structure of the paint.
So paintless dent removal, so I understand, is the one where you don't need to come after and paint it up.
Yeah.
It is a simple.
So it's realigning the metal, putting everything back to shape. And it's more about rubbing it into place than it is about anything else.
Please explain to me, and we'll take a break and do it when we come back, but I'm giving you the heads up. I want to know how the thing works, because if I look at a dent, you feel like you could just stick your hand under and just push it. I need to know how the machines work. And then, of course, we'll chat more about this aligning of the repair sector, collision repair sector as a whole. We take your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
What you're hearing isn't a traffic accident. It's not panic braking. It's our amazing car-stopping 40th birthday deals. For a limited time only, Auto & General is offering great savings with our 40th birthday Ruby deals. Celebrate with us by visiting autogen.co.za for great personal and business car insurance savings. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online. Offer available for a limited time only.
Hey, Laura. The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the two-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Talking of expenses, your trading expenses were up by 4.8% above inflation. I mean, what drove them up in that way?
Some of these are beyond our control. You know, we've got an unfortunate situation that the various municipalities across the length and breadth of South Africa are just gouging retailers and shopping centres. And we've got some areas where we're paying 3 times the amount in rates and taxes that we're actually paying on this base rental.
And Sean Summers is the CEO of Pick n Pay.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. The insights to guide you through Africa's financial landscapes are waiting for you. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
The Car Feature.
10 minutes to 3 o'clock. Our car feature for today, we're talking about aligning South Africa's collision repair sector with Yuan Hanekom, National Director of SAMBRA, that's South African Motor Body Repairers Association. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. In terms of the other bodies that fall into the collision sector, which you've touched on, what would you say is missing in getting you guys to be more kumbaya, is the only word that came to mind?
So I think if we take a look at the collision repair industry as a whole, let's first maybe understand the players in that.
Yes.
Right? So you've obviously got the MBRs, or the motor body repairers, which we represent a large portion of. Then you've got the insurers, which are represented by the likes of SAIA. And then you've got the OEMs, or the original equipment manufacturer, the vehicle manufacturers. And they're represented by NAMSA. Now, there is a lot of history and animosity in some of these cohorts.
Is it because some people think that others are overcharging them or whatever the case may be?
So the default response when somebody says something or you find out something, you always assume malice. And it's not always the case. Everybody's trying to drive in a direction, and there's a miscommunication, and there's just some small information gap that takes place there. And what we're finding is, and I think this is best summed up as an analogy, if you look at the motor body repair sector, and I'm not sure if you ever drove a Nissan 1400 Bakkie, right?
Wait, are those little ones?
Those little Nissan champs.
I've been inside, but I haven't driven it.
But if you've ever driven one, right,
yes,
you'll know that the handbrake in any of those vehicles never ever worked, right? So what happens is you get up to a stop street on an uphill,
yes,
and you end up putting your heel on the brake and your big toe on the petrol, and you wangle it there, and you try and navigate this entire situation.
Your heel on the brake and the big toe
on the petrol, and you try balance this entire equation out, and eventually, when the light turns green or it's your turn to drive, you ride, right? But the reality is, it's just the handbrake that's not working, and it just needs to be fixed. But what's happening over time in the industry is we've ignored the fact that the handbrake is broken, and we've come up with consequential behavior. We've put other things into place. So some guy comes to you while you're sitting there, says, hey, I've got a brick, and I sell you a brick. And then somebody comes up with something else. And so it stacks on. And we've got 500 different ways to compensate for this one thing that's not working.
I got you.
And so we need to bring that into the MBR space. And we remember the SAHIA representing the insurers, NAMSA representing the OEMs. You take a look at it and say, vehicle technology has increased at such an exponential and rapid pace. The technology in those vehicles are no longer the same, and it's exponentially more complex. So take something like a headlight. It's no longer just a bulb, a reflector, and a lens. This is a complicated of electronic equipment, right? It's got computers in it, it's got LEDs and all the fancy things, and it's no longer a 2,000 rand piece of equipment, it's now a 40,000 rand piece of equipment. And because of this complexity and the increase in the parts price, because of this sort of technology, you tend to find that the vehicles are now being written off at a lower rate, right? So instead, some vehicles, I'm not going to mention any names specifically here, are written off at 35% of their book value, which is ridiculously low.
Yeah.
So a car can no longer stay on the road. It's not as repairable as it was before. You mentioned before the break about why can we use hot water in some cases and not in others? And then you look at the thickness of the material of the steel. It's no longer as thick as it used to be. Before you could hit whatever you want and it would stay the same. Today
it's those old Mercedes with the big nose. Yes. Those are hard.
Yes, you could take out a tree with it. Your car would be fine. You might need to take it for a polish.
Yes.
But you don't need a panel beater, right?
Yeah.
Your new car, it's getting closer, and you can maybe surmise it closer to something like tinfoil.
Yes.
Right, where it's these thin sheets of metal that are there, and they're designed that way not only for a cost-saving perspective, but more from a safety perspective. These things are designed to crumple and absorb the force of the collision. And so it's not just a cost-cutting measure. It is a real safety thing for the consumer. But the reality is that the extent of the damage is more. More things can go wrong and more things can break.
So what are the big challenges then that Sambra is experiencing that you're saying, guys, we all need to be aligned now?
So as I was mentioning, the complexity that comes with it, right? When you factor and you don't look at it in isolation, but you look at it holistically. Vehicles are getting written off more often. Parts prices have increasing. This increases the risk profile for the insurer. The insurer then compensates by raising the insurance premium. The OEM then goes and says, okay, cool, the premium is higher. I'm not selling as many parts, as many vehicles. I've got to make that up in parts somewhere. And so this perpetual cycle carries on. Parts prices rise, risk profiles increase, rate of percentages drop, and so it becomes a vicious cycle until everybody gets together around the same table to evaluate this thing holistically, perhaps commissioning something of an independent study into the sustainability of the industry, not held by one single party, but the collective as a whole. Can we really start addressing the nitty-gritties? Once we find out from an independent perspective where the flaws are, it would then be the responsibility of each party to go back and fix the things in our own house. And that's something that's lacking at the moment. Because at the moment, it's a case of he said, she said. The panel beater is doing that. The insurer is doing this. The OEM is doing that. And you've got to understand that in this complicated triangle of a relationship, well, it's not that complicated, but it is quite. Ultimately, the manufacturer provides the vehicle and the standard to repair that vehicle. The motor body repairer implements that standard, whatever that might be, and the insurer funds it. So what you find is, because of the rise in the complexity in the technology, more and more equipment is required in the shop, which places an additional compliance burden. For every manufacturer approval or manufacturer brand that you would like to work on that is in warranty, you would apply to that manufacturer for approval. If you consider in the South African market at the moment, there are 50, just on passenger vehicles, there are 50 brands, 2,203 derivatives. If you take Bucky's specifically, there's 26 brands and 599 derivatives. I don't know if you've got how big your walls need to be if you want to put 76 badges on your wall. But it's unsustainable. And obviously it's a differentiating factor.
So us as the consumers, why does it affect us? Is it that things are just going to get more and more expensive for us as consumers?
Well, I think the consumers are already feeling it. if you take a look, I don't know when last you bought a new vehicle and got insurance on it, but your insurance premium is sometimes 50%, if not 100, well, the same price as your vehicle installment.
Which is so scary.
And that's really purely based on the risk profile.
Mm.
Long-term ramifications for that might get worse. You might see an uptake in people that have become more self-insured. Or, you might see a total failure of the MBR network.
So how is the industry, because this is now your official call to action, to everybody, all the players in the game, what are you asking them to do?
We're sending an open hand. We want to sit around the table and we want to discuss this. We don't want to get into the commercial elements of it. We want to look at the problems holistically. And we want to address them as best we can, not for the sake of the MBR sector alone, but for the industry at large.
The website is sambra.biz for all of you that would like to get more information, but of course for you to reach out so that a conversation can begin, particularly all of you in this industry. One, thank you so much for chatting to us. And I think as motorists, we all need to be very, very concerned because it does have a ripple effect that comes back to us. But let us hope that conversation happens and that you guys come to us at some point and say, hey, we've come together. At the table, here's the outcome. Thank you again.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
I'm Telani from PG Glass. Got a chip? We'll fix it with precision, and we offer cash deals on high-quality new windscreens.
Visit pg.co.za today for trusted service.
Thank you so much for joining us on 702 Afternoons. PrimeMediaPlus.com or download the app Prime Media Plus. John Pullman is coming up on 702 Drive. Make sure you tune in. It is 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
A Mamelodi family left reeling following the murders of their daughters, and is a corruption storm brewing at the South African Weather Service. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The family of 2 women shot and killed in Mamelodi at the weekend says they are deeply hurt by the slander, and 22-year-old Siamo Moramaga was shot in the early hours of Sunday morning following a night out. A 38-year-old suspect has been arrested in connection with the murder of the cousins. Khomotso Modise reports.
When cousins Baleseng and Siamo Moramaga were shot, allegedly by a man that one of them was romantically involved with, they'd just come from a local establishment just streets away from their home. Since their passing, some on social media have criticized them for being out until the early hours of the morning. Their aunt Maki Moramaga says the comments made have been deeply hurtful.
It's a lie that my girls were with men for money. How would they do that? Men will kill you these days for their money. Tiamo was a beautician who offered makeup and hair services for a living, and Baliseng was a third-year student. It's not true.
As community members continue to arrive to offer their condolences, the family is preparing to travel to Lukau village in Limpopo, where the young women will be laid to rest on Saturday. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News in Mamelodi.
Let's move to Parliament now, where Deputy Minister of Police Kassel Matale has told Parliament that Minister Senzo Mchunu directive to disband the political killings task team caught him off guard. Matale is currently testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption allegations. He says he was not sure if Mchunu spoke to the President about his directive. Today marks day 13 of the parliamentary hearings. Babalondenze reports.
Deputy Police Minister Kassel Matale told evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse, that he found out on social media that Senzo Mchunu had issued a directive to disband the political killings task team. He says Mchunu only called him in early January to inform him and assured him that he wrote the letter.
When did you first learn about the directive?
On the social media,
That's where I picked it up.
He said he wasn't expecting the decision and found Mchunu's letter to be strongly worded.
It was odd for me to say something like that. And when he confirmed it himself, that he wrote it and we must not be surprised. I didn't understand what could have motivated him to pen such a letter in the manner in which he did.
Matale told the committee that the effectiveness of the task team was never in question and it had done excellent work. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
A ballistics expert has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that another firearm seized from suspects in the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand